Gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about how to host a party here on Big Pretty Man. Hi, and welcome back to Big Pretty Man, the channel for the extra large man who wants to live his life large and in charge. I'm your host, Timothy Big Pretty Crowe. I'm a lifestyle and wardrobe consultant for the extra large man. Alright, gentlemen, today I am doing another video per request. This one came from a gentleman who asked me a bit of an off track, at least with this channel, question and request for advice on how to host a party. Well, I have to say, he made a good choice in questions, because besides wardrobe, I'm also good with parties. I've worked in a profession where I've had to deal with a lot of party planners, wedding planners, caterers. So it is a skill set that I do have. However, I have to admit, it's one that I hate to use. I personally hate to throw a party. Not because I'm antisocial. I'm actually quite a social animal. Big Pretty's very much an extrovert. But because I'm a bit very ingratiating man, and also a slight bit of a perfectionist when it comes to these type of matters. So when I have to plan a party, it really gives me a lot of anxiety and stress, because I have to have everything just right. I want everyone to be convenienced and have a good time. So, it usually gets me all round up in a knot. Usually up until the day of the party, or up till literally till people start arriving. Then I do tend to lighten up a little bit, because by then I've worried and sorted it all out. But yes, I can give some advice on how to host a party. Now, the first thing I'm going to say, and probably one of the two most important things to remember when you're hosting a party, is number one, know your guests. Know your guests, because that's really going to dictate the theme and the atmosphere, and also the accommodations that you're going to offer for a party. For instance, is the people you're inviting over a bunch of more sporty guys, maybe more blue collar guys? If so, you probably don't want to be serving hors d'oeuvres and wine with soft jazz. These guys are going to want buffalo wings, pizza, and beer. And maybe a little. If you're going to play anything low, maybe put a little classic rock, something like that. That's what that crowd's going to want. And when you're giving a party, you want to give give your guests what they expect and what they want. That's why, because that's going to cause them to have a better time. They don't want to feel like they have to adjust. They want to feel comfortable. So know your guests. Now, if you are having a more sophisticated or higher brow intellectual group that's coming in, then of course you want to accommodate that with some nice hors d'oeuvres and some good wines, some good choices there, and yes, the soft music. So something a little more sophisticated as well. So it's very important that you know your guests, and also along with that, know the theme of this party. I mean, what kind of party is this? Is just a little Is this an actual party, a get together of mingling people? Or is this some sort of meeting? Something like, particularly, I know that the gentleman that asked me said that this was kind of a little meeting of gentlemen that they changed houses. Each one would host one a month. They changed it monthly. So that really dictates, the theme and the atmosphere of the party. Because if it's just going to be, a type of sit down talk meeting type of party, then you're going to offer different things. It's not going to be so much wine and cheese. This is probably going to be more of a coffee and pastries type of meeting. So you have to know your guests, know the type of get together that you're holding, and what's expected from each. Okay. Now, first, let's get started. Next thing I would say is in the prep, which is everything, and the planning. So, and one of the first things you want to do is give your home a good cleaning, or give the space wherever you're having this shindig a very good cleaning. If you have to, call in somebody, if you have a house, you pay someone to come clean your houses, definitely have them come in and really give it a good once over, run the sweepers, do the dusting. That's something often overlooked. Really straighten things up. Also be mindful of other forms of convenience. Make sure you're well stocked in your bathroom. Have plenty of toilet paper. You don't want your guests sitting on the throne and there's no toilet paper. That's going to be a very embarrassing and awkward moment for them. Also worry about about your security. Make sure that any areas in your home, if you're having it in your home, are closed off. Lock the doors to bedrooms and studies and things like that if you can. At least shut the doors. Also on that note, you may know most of the people coming to your party, but they may bring guests and that you don't know. And not only that, how well do you really know people? You hear stories. So be sure not to leave any personal or secure materials laying around. Bank statements, credit card statements, other types of personal documents. Make sure you put those in a locked up drawer, or put them away, or put them in a secure place where people are not going to be or will not be looking. That can be a very important thing. Another thing is, once again, you're going for the right atmosphere. So you want it clean, you want it neat, but also you want it to smell good. I mean, it doesn't do any good if you walk into somebody's home and it's immaculate clean, but you smell dog piss. Or you smell, the cabbage they cooked for dinner the day before. Or just the basic, maybe even just a basic, indoor saved up farts from the winter natural scent. You don't want that. So what you want to do is, maybe earlier in the day before the event, at least up until a couple hours, burn some incense, something pleasant, nothing too strong. I found that frankincense is a really good choice. And stay away from patchouli. A lot of people don't like patchouli. But burn some incense or burn some scented candles. Let them burn throughout the day, or let that scent carry throughout the day. I mean, you can use the spray odors, but I find that those don't last as long. The incense or the candles, let those burn for several hours, get the scent in the house, and then blow them out and put them out at least 2 to 3 hours before your guests arrive. If not, you don't want this scent to be cloying. You just want it to kind of be, an after effect, something that lingers, just a little bit. You don't want it to attack the nose. You wanted something just like colognes to be discovered when they come in their home. And olfactory impressions and as well as visionary impressions are the first impressions of their home that you're going to make. So you want to make sure when they walk in, they see a straight, clean, well lit, and good smelling environment. That right there is going to set a big tone for people coming in your house. Okay, now going from there, let's talk about getting the most important thing for your party, and that would be your food and your drink. Now, once again, we come back to know your guests. What do they want? Well, as I said earlier, if you've got more of a blue collar, and it also goes by theme, but if you've got like a blue collar group of guys coming in, a couple of guys, let's say you're hosting like a football, a football game that you're watching on TV, and everybody's getting together. Well, you know what to put out for that. You're going to put out, the popcorn, the pretzels, the pizza, the hot wings, the beer. But even in those type of parties, you want to also exercise something that you should put in. It should be your second rule. One is to know your guest, and number two is to offer choices. Offering choices is like the number one key to a successful party. So, you want to make sure you have things that can accommodate everyone. For instance, even at the pizza party, the pizza and hot wings type of, party or get together that you're having, don't just offer just beer, offer soft drinks, offer juice, and always offer some spring water or bottled water. Because not everybody's, even in that crowd, not everybody's a drinker. Not everybody drinks alcoholic beverages. Not everybody's big into sodas as well. So, you want to offer some juices, some teas. That's always good. Coffee, as well as juices, and with the soft drinks, and of course the beer. And even a little bit of hard liquor, if that's what you're bringing in. Now, of course, like I said, if you're hosting a more sophisticated intellectual crowd or artsy crowd, you're going to want to change that up. That's a whole different atmosphere. So what you want to do is you want a nice variety of hors d'oeuvres, and other types of finger foods. You want, and I will say this: a bucket of hummus and pita bread is always welcome in just about any type of party. But to make hors d'oeuvres, to make the little finger foods, if you have the skill to make them yourself, or your spouse or a friend has the skill to make them, get them to make them, pay them to make them. But if you can't do that, then I would recommend going to a caterer. And you don't have to, when I say a caterer, it doesn't have to be a big full blown out, they have servants coming over and serving people. If you got the money for that, go for it. That'll definitely make an impression. But, if it's just you want things set out for people to kind of nibble at, but you want them a little more fancy, there are catering services that will do that. You just put in an order, they'll a platter of this, a platter of that, and they'll deliver them to your home before maybe half hour or an hour before your party, and you can set them out. That's usually the cheaper and more convenient way to go. So so make sure you got that, and make sure there's a lot of variety for people to pick from. And speaking of variety, that's something else. To accommodate everyone, send out an invitation. Send out an email or a text to everyone that's invited to the party, and ask them if they have any special dietary needs, such as any types of allergies. You definitely don't want somebody with a peanut allergy and you've got peanut oil and in one of the hors d'oeuvres or one of the dishes. That can turn into an emergency real quick. And also find out, if you have vegetarians or vegans in the crowd, and also say, please make sure that you mention any guests that you're bringing, about their dietary needs to give you that info. That's going to be very important. Now, here I'm talking about mostly a mixture of people standing around. However, if you stand around, just a little talking, a few hors d'oeuvres, a few snacks, some drinks. We'll get into drinks in a minute. But if you are having a full-on dinner party, there's really two ways to go. One, you can do the traditional, everybody sit at the table and everybody's, be served. If you do that, you probably are going to have to hire someone to come in, or, pay someone, a friend or something. Man, excuse me. Bit of a cold. But, you're going to probably have to have somebody come in and do that serving. If if you have kids or something, you can get them to do it. That type of thing. And if you can do your own cooking, great. However, what I would recommend, whether you cook it or you have it fully catered, is to not have it literally the plate type of thing served per person at a table. I would highly recommend going with kind of a buffet style. Set all of the food out at a particular table, or counter near where the table is, with the plates and with the plates, and have people go along just like they would at a buffet and get what they want. And then they can go sit down where you have their, the place settings and all of that. And by the way, I'm going to do a video on proper dining and how to do proper place settings that will be coming probably within the next couple of weeks. But anyway, the reason that you really want to do this type of buffet, and is one, it's much easier. Two, you don't have to have people being served. Three, if someone does have some dietary issue or an allergy issue, they're vegan or vegetarian, that type of thing, or they just don't like certain types of dishes, well, they've got a variety. If they don't want it, they can leave it alone, and make sure that in that menu, of course, you have plenty of good vegetable and or fruit dishes that could actually substitute for a meat dish, have and as well as having maybe at least 2 meats that'll be available. Usually I've found that chicken and beef or chicken and turkey are pretty much liked by everyone. If not, then they can go with the vegetarian dish. But that takes a lot of the worry and a lot of work off of you for the party. People can get what they want. They can sit down and eat, and everybody's fine. I mean, yes, if you can hire someone to come in and get the menus, at that point you're going to have people fill it out. It's like at a wedding, what they want to have and all of that, and you send out the invitations, and you have catering people in the proper uniforms serving it. Of course, that's going to be very impressive. Make a big and definitely make a great impression on everyone. But that is a lot of work, and that's a lot of expense. I have personally found that you can get this kind of the same result with just a buffet. And if you want to kind of add that you may want to hire one person to put on the uniform and stand there and offer people, help direct people. That's going to be remembered as a catered event, even if you're not really a fully catered event. So, and that's going to leave that good impression. Now, let's get down to the right kinds of drinks. Once again, the 2 rules: know your guests and offer variety. Offer a lot of choices. So, as I said before, if it's like a guys get together, a sporty type of guys get together, of course the beer, but also offer the water and the juices and the soft drinks. When it comes to even the more sophisticated crowd, you want to offer even if it's a little higher end, you still want to offer that type of choice. Offer white wines, offer red wines, have an offering of, once again, not in case nobody's drinkers, offer some other types of drinks, such as soft drinks and juices or juice mixes or punch, that type of thing, to give people a lot and always water, and give people that type of choice. Now, if you are having a meeting type of party where people are gathering, like the gentleman that asked me, in my comments, then and it's more of this, coffee and pastry. Don't just offer coffee. Also offer tea as an alternative. Once again, you want to offer a variety, and your group. So coffee and tea. Also, whether it's just with hot water and the tea bags they do themselves, or actually have some brewed tea. Also, when it comes to the pastries, don't just get the traditional coffee and donuts. It's boring, and everybody does it. It's going to, even in that group, it's going to set you apart if you offer not just donuts, but also offer some muffins, some whole grain muffins. If some people are in a diet or looking after their what they eat, offer some croissants. I always offer croissants. So that you are offering, offer some danishes, so that you have this variety of pastries for people to pick from. And while you're at it, also, once again, accommodate, offer, not only the pastries, but also offer some relishes that go with it, some accoutrements. Offer, if you have bagels and croissants and pastries, then offer some, have a dish of butter, have a dish of cream cheese, have some assorted fancy jams. I know you get those at some pretty good ones of those at Trader Joe's. And have that sitting out. And also, if you happen to have one of these little, bagel toasters, have that sitting there so people, with the dishes up handy, so that people they can heat up their croissant or their bagel, with their butter and things. That's really going to the next level. And see, little details like that and these accommodations are what will make a party successful. Now, I would also, something I kind of left out is when you set the mood, let's not forget about the background music. And you really want a little bit of background noise. The reason is like if it is like a mixer thing where there's people that don't know each other very well and they're trying to meet, having some background noise rather than just flat silence can really put people at ease. So once again, depending on your crowd, what goes by what you offer. If it's a more sophisticated crowd, more intellectual crowd, I find that a little bit of light jazz really works well. Maybe throw on a little Miles Davis. Turn it down low, so you don't want it blaring and people can't hear. Put it just down low so it's kind of under audibly a little under conversation, but nice little background noise. But of course, if you're having more of a guy get together or a particular type of group like that just come together, or say like everybody coming around the party is going to be in their late 40s, early 50s. You want to maybe put on a sampler of 80s music or 90s alternative, or or perhaps even some rap, old school rap type thing. You have to go by your crowd. You'll generally find that people feel most comfortable if you're going to play more contemporary music, that if you outside of jazz and classical, people feel more comfortable with the music from their youth. That's going to automatically make them happy. For me, I'm a child of the 80s, so there's going to be a little Duran, Flock of Seagulls, Cyndi Lauper and Kenny Loggins and Level 42, Culture Club, that type of thing, playing low in the background. If I'm with a group of friends that are of my age group, because we're all going to associate with that. And once again, you want your guests to feel comfortable. You want them to feel at home and accommodated. So that's what you want. Now, kind of going to the next level, and that kind of brings me to the activities that you may want to offer. If it's just if it's a type of meeting with the coffee donut, sit in a circle type of meeting type of party, maybe a little more casual than that, then of course you don't really have to worry too much about planning activities, as the activities are already there. But if it's and if it's something more of a mixer or a group party or even a dinner party, you may want to offer a little after dinner entertainment or activity. Now, you can always go with kind of the classics of group games. I mean, believe it or not, musical chairs. It's an ancient classic, but it does still get a lot of laughs. It's kind of fun. But also you can go with a board game with a certain group, or chess or something like that. But usually you want more participatory things to do. And I hate to admit it, but drinking games can be a lot of fun. You got to be careful there. But another one is flat karaoke. Get a karaoke machine. It may seem passé and it may seem a little hack and tacky, but people love karaoke, and it's a good way to break the ice. So you may want to do that. And of course, if you're doing like a big blowout bash, then you can always hire a band to play, or one of these music machines with a DJ to come in and play. If it's a little more of a classy group, get you a little quartet of classical musicians. Somebody with a cello and somebody cello, a sax, and a violin to sit and play gently in the background. If it's a really fancy party, and so that's really going to impress. Now, these type of parties that I'm talking about, of course, are your more more meet and mingle type of parties. I'm not really talking about your spring break type of or big blowout, let's all get drunk and party type of party, because you really don't have to plan much for that type of party. All you need is keg, hard liquor, and loud dance music. You're done. And some room to move. You're done. So the ones I'm more talking about are, your more mixer dinner party type of meeting type of get together. Now, last thing I'm going to say is going to be a bit of a warning, because if you follow these guidelines I've given, you put that extra effort into accommodating your guests and knowing your guests and providing the proper entertainment and food and accommodations for them. Beware, because once they come to your party, it's going to be a big hit, and people are going to talk about it. And guess what? They're going to want you to do more parties. Suddenly there can be some pressure. Hey, when are you going to have another get together? When are you going to have another party? Your last one was the best party I've been to in a long time. When you're having the next dinner party, that was delicious. So now you've become Mr. Host. So just be warned that that is you can be a victim of your own success. I know I have. I once threw a party where I featured Middle Eastern food, and I actually had a acquaintance, a person I went to school with, who had became a chef, professional chef, that specialized in Middle Eastern cuisine. He'd actually done some training in Morocco, and I think in Dubai. But either way, he'd had training on how to make Middle Eastern food. He made the best homemade hummus I have yet to ever eat. It was just the best. And also, I had a friend that was a belly dancer, and so for my entertainment, I had the cushions on the floor and the food spread out, and these wonderful dishes. And he actually, the man that was the chef, did the serving and talked about the dishes. I had some Middle Eastern music playing in the background, and then at the height, I clapped my hands, and out came the belly dancer who really put it on. You want to talk about leaving an impression? I know friends that party was like 25, 30 years. They still mention that party. So that definitely stepped it up. And I would and I would love to do that again, because especially to get that gentleman's hummus again. However, I have to say it in past tense, because unfortunately he was murdered. Yeah, back in the late 90s. Don't flirt with other men's wives, guys. Yeah, it can end up having you thrown into a ditch, dead. And what's even worse, it'll knock me out of having the best hummus I've ever had. God, that was dark. But what's sick is it's kind of true. Rest in peace, pal. Anyway, that's about, on that dark note, that's about all I've got to say about throwing parties. But just remember that when you do throw a party, it's not only an expression, not only impression of the party you're making, accommodating people, but this is putting out an expression of you and what people think of you. So you want to come across as not only an ingratiating host, but a man of sophistication and class. That is a very ingratiating man, ingratiating host. You want to come across as suave and put together. Well, so really a party can be, the greatest PR that you have, or if you screw it up, the worst scandal, PR that you can get. But so in the long run, just remember the two rules for a good party: know your guests, and offer plenty of accommodations and choices, and your parties will be a success. And while you're at that party, be sure to dress to the nines, so that you'll stay pretty.